house, everyone. You're obviously confused and aroused.
Then where are we now?
Do you have idiots on your planet?
It's me, Zoidberg, remember from high school?
His bowels aren't gonna disem themselves, and you're listening to Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. Today we'll be discussing Season 10, Episode 3, T the Terrestrial. My name is Michelle Burlingame. Not with me are Tommy Roulette,
How's it going?
Pete Woodward,
That's me.
and our guest today, Bill Squire.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Hey!
Over a year.
Hi.
How long has this podcast been going? A long
Like
time.
3 years.
Several years, yeah.
Yeah. I think June is the anniversary of when we started. So it's either 3 or 4 years, but as we've been talking about the last couple episodes, the finish line is right in front of us, and we're all just like, we're waiting for that big glass of water and the cheeseburger at the end now. Like, just get done. We can make it. We can do this. If we have nothing else, if not longevity.
We're doing it. We're gonna make sure it's all every episode. We're not gonna stop.
I mean, it's impressive. I'm happy for you guys, and
Thanks.
it's an honor to be in the last season with you guys and be a part of it. And the fact that you guys have made it this far is pretty impressive, because most people these days, I feel like, give up on things.
Like rule of law and democracy and
God.
like those kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been an interesting road for sure. But we definitely, as we started getting towards these last episodes, we're like, we got to get back to people that have been on a lot that we like having on. And, so that's like you were at the top of that list. It's been a long haul, man. With the part that you missed over like the last 30 or so episodes or whatever since you'd been on, is like, for us to schedule things just became a total nightmare. Like the pandemic has been good for this show because we're actually all home and can do it over the internet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not having stand-up shows is one thing, but like I started a new podcast called The Bill Squire Show, and it's been taking up all my time. I built like a home studio, and I'm like, hey, whenever you're free, because as long as I'm not on the radio, I'm free. I can do it whenever. So like I'm having guests on like whenever I can. And it's been one of those things where like, yeah, there's things I miss, but I'm kind of a homebody, especially with everything that like I've done for myself in the past year. I bought a condo with a lake view and stuff like that. So I like where I'm at in life, and I like to be home.
Yeah. Before you guys got on, I was talking to Michelle. We just put sunshades on my front porch, which used to be like unbearable in the summer because as the sun was going down, it would just bake and be like 90 degrees all night long. And now you could actually sit there and like as the sun's setting for 6 hours and just like chill on the porch. Like, okay, well, there's going to be a lot of porch drinking this summer and just relaxing because it's beautiful. And I don't even like being outside. As long as I just don't have to be in the sun, I'm fine.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with outside because there's parts of it that I really enjoy, but I have a lot of allergies. I am allergic to my own sweat.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so if I get sweaty, I like break out all over the place.
Fuck.
Like I have to like immediately shower after I get sweaty, which is nearly impossible because I get sweaty in the shower. So
Yeah.
there's not a lot I can do about it. So I just have to always have like tough acting, tenactin to rub all over my tits.
Get some terry cloth. Like I'm surprised that they haven't really made a comeback, like the terry cloth headbands and wristbands and stuff.
I literally have one of those because I started playing tennis with my girlfriend, and I have one of those for when I play because I don't want my face to break out like that.
Right. You got to keep that shit at bay. Like if I had that issue, not the issue of like I sweat a lot, but if I was allergic to my own sweat, then it would become, I'd be the elephant man at that point. There's no way to control it. I was super surprised that it was actually sort of fitting that this was an episode that you were coming on to because there was a goddamn Jumbotron cartoon for the first time in like 50 episodes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think it was one that was from, it's been on before, isn't it? It was like Dancing Skeletons or some shit.
Yeah, I don't think there are any new ones that weren't already Jumbotron cartoons.
They're just like, this is gonna be a short episode. We can pad another 5 seconds in at the beginning.
Probably.
Yeah, it was What a Night was the name of the cartoon on this one.
Wad?
What? Like what, but what? What a Night, like WOT. What?
Okay.
It was from Tom and Jerry, I guess.
So probably racist, but still funny.
Yeah, 1931, RKO Radio.
Oh, what if Orson Welles was involved in that? Did he do any cartoon voiceovers besides the Transformers?
Not sure.
I mean, it did feature blackface quartet of skeletons singing a song, so
Yes, it did.
Totally racist. Yeah. Well, you know, the Jumbotron is on brand.
Jesus.
There's also lyrics or lines from it. Never. For long white robe and starry crown. So it definitely racist.
Oh dear.
Sorry, my neighbor's alarm was just going off. I don't know if anybody else could hear that.
Someone from $2 came out and stumbled into it or something.
Yeah, I remember when my street was quiet because of the quarantine. Not anymore.
No. I started getting excited when immediately they got to like the Omicronians, because it just, there's something comfortable about them arguing and bickering like the honeymooners.
Oh, they're so funny. And then I love what's the main Lur. Yeah, Lur. Yeah, he just loves garbage television. Garbage television. And the whole Finder Outer parody at the beginning is one of my favorite things, because it's one of those procedurals, and that like he's so sucked into it, it makes me laugh, because it's one of those shows where you don't need to see every episode's basically the same as the last episode.
Yeah,
but they'll like give those characters like a little bit of personality that will like be a carry through each, through the whole season. You'll basically get one small arc that is stretched over 25 episodes. So you're chasing after this, it reminds me of the Blacklist, where they're like, okay, we gotta catch the cake maker or whatever they call the guy each week. It's the cabin filter. I don't know. Like there's all these generic people that don't really play into the story, but then there's like an overarching story that they move forward like 3 minutes at a time.
Right. And if they combined them all in a season, it wouldn't even be enough to fill a full episode. It would be like a half-ass B-plot. Yeah. That became the thing. Like that's how, basically what Law and Order was forever and ever. And then they started trying to adapt it into having like arcs and things, but the reruns were still all playing out of order. So it just got like super completely disorienting. Yeah.
And it's one of those things where they don't need the arcs for those shows. Like one of the beauties of Law and Order is that you could watch any episode and like parachute in and be like, okay, this is what we're doing. I know enough about the detectives. I know, how they're gonna their personalities. I know the prosecutors and everything like that. Yeah. I just want the case stuff. The personal stuff is very strange. Like I remember there was an episode where Chris Maloney.
Did he lose his shit? Did he almost go over the edge?
he just put himself in solitary confinement for like 72 hours. And that was the episode, because they were trying to make a point about solitary confinement being like super cruel and like how terrible it is. And so like, and I think it was him trying to flex his acting chops, where he's like, look at how maddened I am by being in solitary confinement for this long. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm watching the show to see who the murderers are.
Yeah. I mean, like, I would rather watch him exercise his acting chops as the guy from Wet Hot American Summer that talks to the soup can. Like, and I don't know if you guys have watched Happy. Like, I'm still not up on the second season or anything, but that show with him is like the fucked up detective who sees the magic unicorn.
With Patton Oswalt as the voice.
Yeah. I've seen episodes of that. I haven't actually watched it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
It's super dark, but it's funny. I've been I'm trying to get more balance because sometimes I just need like palate cleansers. Like it's been a lot of Angie Tribeca, and then we've been watching the What We Do in the Shadows. But then I don't know if you've ever seen Toast of London, which was a show that Matthew Berry did. It is just completely ridiculous. Like it's a full-on British farce, but it's super crass and just like stupid. And he's this washed up like London stage actor who's just got this super inflated ego. It's almost, now that I think about it, it's almost like an Eastbound and Down kind of thing where you have this just like disgraced, washed up guy who has absorbed none of that and has no self-awareness about it. And it's just like still
Who's this
just
star?
going. Matthew Berry, who does Laszlo on What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh,
and he was on the IT Crowd and
Mighty Boosh. He was on
Garth
all kinds of
Marenghi's
stuff.
Dark Place.
He was the goth guy in that. Is that correct? In IT Crowd. Yeah.
No, that's Noel Fielding.
No, he was like the
is the goth guy from the IT
he was
Crowd. He was the boss.
He's the boss. Yeah.
That's right. Oh yeah, he's fucking funny.
It's good. I just like even the whole exchange of him looking and being pissed off that there's nothing good on TV. He can't find his hot in Cleveland.
Yeah.
and then his son is just like, can you help me with my Boy Scout stuff? He's like, no, I'm busy watching TV. Like
he says NBC needs my love more than you do.
and so there were a bunch of things in this that really hit close to home for me. Parental neglect being, one of them. But
meaning not that you currently give parental neglect.
I mean, but in a really cool way. My dad was less so. He had things to do.
Okay.
All right.
But
yeah, I mean, I was raised by television, so I get it too.
For sure.
But I was like the opposite, like where my dad would want me to do things, want me to do Boy Scouts, and be like, Dad, I gotta watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, so you can fuck off. Obviously, I didn't say that, but
the Edison Twins is on. I can't go out tonight. Like, there's something happening.
When he goes to Earth to take over, and that scene is
at the
really
front door of the White House.
The front door of the White House, and there's Agnew, and just that whole interaction is very, very funny.
That I've lived that so many times because I went to Catholic school, and so
okay, now take me to your leader. And all that.
4 times a year, you go sell this shit door to door. Even though on your street and in your neighborhood, there's 14 kids that go to the same school, go door to door. The first kid to get to those neighbors is the first one to get told no.
Yep.
It's just raffle tickets and chocolates and popcorn. And like, I don't want to talk to adults.
I had to do that for football. We had to sell like candy bars, and I sold them all. And then the day like we were supposed to turn everything in like passed. And so I just took the money and went to the mall, bought stuff. And then like when my mom was like, where'd you get money for Legos? And I was like, and she's like, did you get candy bar money? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, you got to take that back. You're supposed to get that candy bar money in. I'm like, well, it's already we already ate all the candy bars and we really, pay for all of them. So basically my mom had to buy a case of candy bars and then like, just to like supplement what I spent on that. I mean, we got the money back, but we still we weren't keeping accurate records.
Right. No, because it's just usually it's kids that are in charge of it. Yeah. And they don't give a fuck. I mean, not only for candy, you had to do that to people in foreign countries with Mormonism.
Oh yeah.
So take it up a couple of notches. That's candy's even more stuff. So. Yeah, candy's easy. Golden tablets and weird underwear, maybe less so.
Eternal salvation is what you're selling.
I mean,
you gotta,
tomato.
That it's like a pyramid scheme. You're getting them. You're buying into the top, but you're at the bottom. Holding it up.
See, I'd be interested in skull arrangement.
But that's for Girl Scouts.
In fact, my house is decorated with various animal skulls, so it kind of is skull arrangement.
I mean,
it
you
was
got
my
various
wife, though, so it was the Girl Scouts.
various animal skulls, both with and without their skin.
Right. How do you think I get them, Pete?
Well, there was bone whittling, and then patricide.
Yeah.
Which was great. Did you guys ever do scouts? I was
No.
in a.
No.
I'm an Eagle Scout, so I had to sell popcorn.
Oh shit!
I like that was a requirement in our family that if you
That was
wanted
top.
a driver's license, you had to get your Eagle Scout. So I was very gung ho just because I wanted my driver's license. I had
Yeah.
nothing to do with any enthusiasm for Scouts. I hated the Scouts. I didn't like anybody that was in the Scouts, but I did it because I wanted my driver's license. So
you
I
went
just
from Cub to Boy to Eagle?
Yeah. Well, there's Cub Scouts and there's Eagle Scouts, and then there's Cub Scout and there's Boy Scouts, but the highest rank in Eagle Scout the highest rank in Boy Scouts is Eagle Scout.
Okay,
So
yeah.
there's like the different levels, and you work your way up to Eagle Scout, and I got to that level just so I could get my driver's license.
That's nuts. Like I had I got to the point where I would have become a Boy Scout, and then they just quit doing it at my school.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through Cubs and Webelos, and then they're just like, yeah, it's just not here anymore. Nobody wants to do it. So, all right, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that. Like, I certainly didn't care about it enough to try and travel to like somewhere else to do it.
Like, thinking back now, I would love to. I would go back in time and do it because it sounds like cool stuff, like learning how to survive.
Well, they don't let you.
Time where it gets ingrained in your brain.
But they don't let you smoke pot in the woods in Boy Scouts, Tom.
I mean,
also,
no,
it's not,
they don't. But
you're not learning this stuff from Bear Grylls.
Yeah,
you're learning it from like pasty, chubby dudes that want to work with kids. So like, it's not the fun thing. Like there were like a few that were like outdoorsmen, and that was cool. And there were some cool activities that we did, but it's also one of those things where the people that you're surrounded by are not the funnest either. Like I didn't like it because I mentioned earlier, like being outside is hard for me because I have allergies, and if I sweat, I get all gross. And so I didn't like that aspect of it. And then you also just had like the nerdiest kids in your school were the ones that were in Scouts. And I was in it against my will. Everybody else was like, yeah, I wanted to do Scouts. And you're like, oh, I don't.
Like whole hog, gung ho.
Yeah.
I mean, that Scoutmaster thing is basically like priests with knives. Like it's we're going to leave my children unattended with a questionable adult, and they're armed.
I have a bit about it in my stand-up where I said, like, I'm an Eagle Scout. I learned how to do all sorts of man stuff that people don't think I know how to do. Like I learned how to tie a knot because I was a Boy Scout. I learned how to survive in the wilderness because I was a Boy Scout. I learned how to testify in open court because I was a Boy Scout. You don't get a merit badge for that one.
No, you should. Like civic duty or something.
Yeah.
I think if you're a Boy Scout, you should just get like patches and stuff the rest of your life. Anything you do.
Yeah.
They mail you patches.
You should get like a TV mounting badge.
I woke up before 9:00 on a weekend badge.
Yeah.
I
cut myself off merit badge. I was like, you know what? It's a work night. I'm gonna stop drinking at 10:30. Good for me.
What? That's crazy.
What merit badge to get?
I really, really liked there was about a half dozen Zoidberg one-offs in this that were just quick little non sequitur jokes, and they were so good. I mean, because they always are with Zoidberg, but just like when the professor is having his arthritis attack because he ran out of his good news herbs, and he starts talking about looking like a desiccated monkey skeleton, and Zoidberg being like, I saw those in the Great Monkey Desert. Like, just not related to anything. It just makes me want to go to some place called the Great Monkey Desert. Like that sounds rad. Whether it's full of dead monkeys or live ones.
Yeah, I like that whole side story or the Zoidberg things, but I also like the in it. We're jumping ahead a little bit, but just Fry Bender keeping Fry, keeping his secret, and like, oh, Fry's here, doing all that stuff like that. All the hoops he was jumping through for that were great.
Right. Yeah. Just he's
using that one message.
He took that one package. He's out on a delivery run while everyone else is there, and the ship's still there too. Go for it, Tom.
I mean, the whole thing with the sacred weed of Omicron was great. The Omicronic.
The sweet toke of Okakroak.
And of course, Hermes is way interested.
But that just makes me wonder, like, why didn't Hermes know about this at some point in the previous 10 years? I mean, if the professor is taking this every day,
Also, I mean, Omicron Persei 8 is not an unknown world. Like, why didn't they realize that stuff was there? And why was that, like, that should have been like an export of that planet.
So where was it coming from aside from Omicron?
What?
The weed.
I mean, that was just happened to be probably a strain. The Omicronic wasn't necessarily the only weed.
That was the Maui Wowie and not the Thai stick, not the Purple Haze. Gotcha.
It was the Omicronic, not the Skywalker. OG.
the whole exchange though between Jur and
Northern
Nixon,
Lights Indica.
Are you just gonna keep naming off weed strains now? You're gonna be like Christopher Guest and Best in Show talking about nuts, but it's just gonna be weed strains. You got Northern Lights Indica. You got Maui Wowie. It's really between him and Bubba from Forrest Gump, which, I mean, more power to him. If you can remember that many things about anything now, that's good. Completely as an aside,
Speaking of Best of Show, R.I.P. Fred Willard.
Yeah, no shit. That was a huge bummer.
And how disgraceful that his last show was Space Force.
I like Space Force.
I liked it. I
haven't watched it yet.
It is not great. It's not great, but it is. It's okay.
I mean, if
from Greg Daniels. So.
If it was his last show was the episode of I Think You Should Leave. With the baseball player organ in the church at the funeral, that's pretty wonderful too. Maybe Ruben Rabasa could just be the new Fred Willard.
There's also a good chance that Fred Willard's in like 8 more movies that were already in the can because the dude would work.
Yeah. He had that Midwestern Ohio work ethic. This is how you get to 120 some episodes of a podcast, just by not knowing when to stop.
True, yeah. Sure, when you start your next podcast, and Chapman only has 2 seasons, so
so far it only has 2.
Yeah, I thought they said they were parts, not seasons.
Yeah.
When they did the look around at Washington and they had the Jefferson's monument, like, I'm all for that at this point. I'd love to see a monument to Sherman Helmsley. Like, that would be fantastic, especially if it was life size and it was only like 4 feet tall, but just to get that, like going back and revisiting that stuff,
just replacing all the old racist monuments with new
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, most of those monuments are a huge bummer, man. Like, replace it with something fun. Well, why do I got to look at all the dead people in Vietnam? What could possibly be learned from that?
And also, we can get to a point soon where they can be hologram monuments where you can just change them. You can have rotating monuments. Like, you can make this big, giant structure, and they can be a monument to anybody on any given day, which I think is the way to go in the future.
You could do that like they do at Mally's with the birthday sign. It's just like, hey, it's Joe Schmo's birthday. Here's the monument to Joe
today.
Schmo.
You pay, this amount of money, and you get to be on the monument for a day.
But when Jur kills,
but then we're gonna get like Quicken Loans presents the Ted
Listen, we're gonna
Turner
get that.
monument.
We're gonna have that anyway. We're gonna have that anyway.
Yeah.
This country has just gone in. The stimulus package was $1 trillion worth of debt that we're never gonna get out of. So the only way out of the debt is to start selling our monuments to giant corporations. So
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's the least harmful way to do anything. Let them advertise everywhere. What do billboards don't hurt anybody?
No, it's not even gonna be. It's gonna just be like AT&T presents Lincoln Memorial.
I don't.
You would
I
probably
don't
get
think
really
you're
good
wrong.
phone reception there, the cell phone reception at the Lincoln Memorial.
4 bars in 7 years.
Well, you know, the 5G, it's the 5G that's causing the coronavirus too. So
Sure.
hopefully your phone doesn't pull that in.
God, I now have to edit that out, Pete.
I know, right? I can get out of here before I get my expletives deleted if you want. That whole exchange with Nixon was wonderful, but then Agnew got zapped out bad, and Nixon declared his embargo, and Laura's just super pissed because like all of the shows he's looking for are just gone, and he named Hot in Cleveland, but didn't he name a couple other ones? He's like, there's no more.
I just remember Hot in Cleveland.
I never watched that. I mean,
I did. It was okay. I mean, it's like Golden Girls, but with Valerie Bertinelli and what's her name, the English chick from Frasier. I'm blanking on that actress's name.
Starts with a D, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that the character name, Daphne?
Daphne. Oh, maybe, yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was one of those Nick at Night ones where it's like we made a reasonably good
Betty White
sitcom.
was in that also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Was it Jane Leeves or it was Daphne, right? Jane Leeves.
Yeah, Jane
Yeah.
Leeves. That's her.
Wasn't the chick from?
And then Wendy Malick, she was in it.
Yes,
From Just Shoot Me?
Yeah, from Just
Mhm.
Shoot Me. I was just saying that, which just came on Hulu apparently.
Oh.
David Spade mentioned that in like one of his Instagram things, and I love that.
I
show.
liked that show a lot.
I love that
was
show.
fun.
Just Shoot Me is a very good show.
It's
I like
got
that-
fucking
who-
Keith Mars from Veronica Mars.
Who's the daughter of that guy just passed away, I think, the boss.
George Siegel?
Yeah.
Did
Did he pass away? No, maybe not him. I was thinking of somebody
No,
else.
Elliot Gould. It's not George Siegel, and they make jokes in the show, and they get confused. It's Elliot Gould.
No, it's Elliot Gould might be on it, but on Just Shoot Me.
Is it George Siegel or is it Elliot Gould?
George-
Because they make that joke all the time on that show. I remember that because you always
Yeah, it's
get
George
them
Siegel.
confused.
It's George Siegel.
Okay.
But Maya Gallo. Oh
Yeah.
Laura San Giacomo.
Yeah, she
Mhm.
hot. And what was that? She was in that Stand, the made for TV Stand movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And at some point, like she's just in a bra and is like a young, like 10-year-old Bill watched that and it was like, whew, wow. That was a very big moment for a young Bill Squire.
Well, he's not dead. George Siegel's not dead. He's on the Goldbergs.
Yes, that's
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still
He's still
alive.
alive.
right. I thought there was somebody that died from that show recently, but maybe it was somebody else. A lot of people have been dying.
Laura San Giacomo was in no, that was Linda Fiorentino. The from Dogma. I don't know. They
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, they both start with an L. They both have a lot of vowels. It's fine.
And
Um
very similar eyebrows.
yeah, right.
I mean,
They
Dylan McDermott, Dermot Mulrooney. We don't know.
Yeah. One of them jerked off while crying on American Horror Story, and the other one didn't. But damned if I could figure out which one's which. The Gary, Indiana bashing that happens when they get onto the mission to go to Omicron. Like, what have any of you had any experience in Gary? Because honestly, having driven through it a relatively high number of times, everything they say is accurate.
Yes.
Like,
it's the only place in Indiana I've ever been. Is
No,
like
really?
near Gary, Indiana.
I got
And,
barbecue.
What?
I worked at a comedy club near Gary, Indiana. It was like right on the border of Gary, and so the only place that had barbecue around there, me and the other comic wanted some barbecue. We went to Gary, Indiana, and it was good. So that's really my only experience in Gary, Indiana.
And being that close to like smoking meat, it would cover the smell of burning rubber too.
Yes, exactly.
Because it rolls in like no joke about 30 miles out of Chicago, and you're just like, what is that stink? And it's just like it's Gary, and that's after driving through cow fields for 2 hours across Indiana, and then getting that. It's just like, fuck, this is bad.
I was like in 8th grade when I went to, and
why?
I went with a friend and his family to visit their family out there.
Was it Michael Jackson?
No, it wasn't. But I had happened to do a report in school in like 7th grade on Indiana, and I had talked about
Michael
Jackson was from there. Larry Bird was from there.
Their most famous export.
Larry Bird's from French Lick, Indiana.
Yes.
I've
Indiana
seen
in general. I remember that.
David Letterman, you got him.
Yeah, I mean, I had to spend some time there. Last year, I was working there for a few weeks, just like in and out, and it was an experience. Just not good and not overwhelmingly horrible, but definitely sort of like, oh, there's just literally nothing happening here. So I'll just stay at this industrial park and call in some Uber Eats or something.
It was also my first time ever out of like our time zone.
Rarely.
Because Gary, it's like, because Indiana like just like curves into the time zone, and Gary, Indiana is in Central Time Zone. There's
parts of Indiana that are not in the same time zone as other parts of Indiana.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
But I remember that was the first time ever I was like I think behind an hour than what I used to be.
It's exciting.
No, it isn't.
I think that's exciting. The first time you go to a different time zone.
You're time traveling, literally.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean, there's parts of Indiana, just as there are parts of Ohio, that are several years behind the times based on the shit that's going on now. Like, it's just, be happy it's just an hour instead of like, oh, you've rolled this straight back to like prohibition and you can't buy booze on Sunday because of blue laws. Like, what? Yeah. Just the ridiculous. But
speaking of embargoes,
with the embargo, when the professor sends them all to Omicron to just kind of pull this stuff up, and Hermes is enjoying the mission and running it, the fact that they just spray painted like Omicronian cargo or ship on the side of the thing with the spray painters, and Brannigan, of course, is like, let them through, whatever. But
that's where
that's where I live.
they just when they break up into the groups and Hermes is pairing people off. This was the other Zoidberg line where he gets Leela and Amy and Fry and Bender, and he's like, okay, and Zoidberg and screw the gun, my friend. It was the joy, like the joy that comes out of Zoidberg's mouth when he gets to do stuff like that. Because he genuinely likes Hermes, even though Hermes despises him. It's really a good thing.
He really leans into it too.
It's beautiful.
So right after this, we have another really great line from this episode, which was Leela saying, "Hey Bender, you better check your ass. I think it's leaking enchantment."
I mean, it's happened to me before. It's
Bender's ass is glowing because of his electric field activating bioluminescence of herbs.
Or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
That sounds plausible.
Another one of those things that I learned about from this show, like bioluminescence. Like I didn't necessarily, like I had heard of it, but like it's one of those things that like sticks with you because you know it on a show and you go, oh, why do I know what that is? Oh, it's because I watch cartoons. I
learned tons of stuff from cartoons.
Yeah.
Like if you're a dog, you don't have to wear pants, or if you're a pig, you don't have to wear pants.
Talk about like real things. Like someone will mention something, and because I watched like Simpsons and Futurama so much as a kid, that I'm like, oh yeah, I actually know a little bit about what, like enough to fake my way through a conversation of something that normally I wouldn't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's the broad base. Like it'll definitely give you that that exposure to all kinds of things, and it's not like it's bad. It's good to get that exposure. It almost something that would make you think and try and have new ideas, or at least expose you to them.
For me, it's
like Wikipedia should be their slogan should be the best way to fake through a conversation.
There you go. But like that idea that you can hear something and be like, oh yeah, I know enough about this to kind of, just as long as I'm not leading the conversation, I can throw in here and there. Like, you know, if someone, you don't know a lot about sports and you hang out with someone that does know, you go, okay, I have enough to throw in with a new conversation. But that's kind of how, you know, Futurama and The Simpsons have been for me, like educating someone, be like Walt Whitman, like, oh yeah, Walt Whitman. But in my head, I'm kicking a tombstone like Homer, going, Walt freaking Whitman. But I'm like, yeah.
I mean, you know, just lead with that. It'll take it somewhere interesting. You know, it'll come there. But all of this
curiosity too, because then you want to know. Like, I don't like missing the joke. So when I feel like something's a joke or a reference that I don't understand, it made me want to look things up and understand what the reference was to.
It's like. Rather than just being like, I don't know it must be stupid, it should burn it.
Yeah, exactly. Where you go, I trust all the other jokes on The Simpsons and Futurama. Why would I think that this one wasn't worth finding out about? So yeah,
right.
Curiosity because of shows like that were over my head, and then it made me want to kind of raise my level a little bit.
You can grow into it.
Back to The Simpsons, though, that reminded me of the Homer on Strike episode, where he imagines he's supposed to imagine somebody, and it's a different person that looks like him. It's like a singer. I can't remember now. God damn it, Michelle. Nothing. You don't remember that episode?
No,
I
don't remember that one.
It's like I think he's supposed to. Che Guerrero or something like that, but then it's supposed to be. Never mind.
It's the one where he's the leader of the.
It's the one where
they're on
Springfield Adams are going to be, or the baseball team's going to be moved to a different.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And he imagines somebody like historical, but he imagines them as the same last name as a pop culture person. And he's like, oh, I didn't realize you looked like that. No, you're imagining me like this. Somebody listening to this, email us and let me know who I'm talking about.
I remember that episode now, but I can't remember who it was.
I mean, they basically just get down and start raiding all of this free weed and put them into the dime bags that Hermes gives them to fill it up. So it's like, okay, fine. But then the point where it starts turning into E.T. Like, I assumed this was coming from the name of the episode, and I'm surprised how many of the scenes were actually like pretty literal copies of the ones that happened in E.T. Like when the cars stopped coming with the cops to find what, like, the raiders or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
so
Reese's Feces.
Yeah, that had me on the floor. Like, that was really, really good.
Tea for terrestrial? No, turd eater.
Yeah. You're eating what about this candy you're giving me? You're eating my turds?
Pieces.
and then, like, just all the stuff where he finds him in the shed, and he comes out, he does the whole ET scaring Elliot thing with Jer, but he's like, "Do you speak English?" English, like just it's just a beautiful moment of Fry being stupid, and honestly, we don't see them very often anymore.
Well, then Jer says, you must be hungry. Come inside, I'll feed you. And Fry goes, okay, but I'm kind of picky, where he's been like eating turds the whole time.
I mean, that we can get back to that because it does come up a few more times, but like when it switches back to the Planet Express office and Bender's reading Cigar Jerk magazine, like, have you ever seen or read an issue of Cigar Aficionado?
No.
I mean, and it's not like I would seek it out, but years ago when bookstores were a thing, I used to work at a Borders and would have to bring in the periodicals. So like that would be one that would come in, and it was just like Dickhead magazine, because it's just, I like cigars, but only ones that cost like $10,000 plus.
Oh no, we've lost our Cigar Aficionado audience.
Right, but then it's just like, I mean, and there's literally a magazine for everything, just like there's porn for everything. Like it's just, and I get it. People want to read up on the things that they're interested in, but it's like this magazine that's just micro focused on shitty things from shitty people. Not that I guess, like, you know, whatever celebrity gossip mag is focused on the Kardashians is too. Like I find them equally distasteful. But
Zoom background does speak to you, and it speaks to us in a way that says Cigar Aficionado.
Right? But I mean, I've been trying to find one that has a movie of the dancing dwarf from Twin Peaks, because it's the Red Room from Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
With the other place. So I just want to get a video of him like doing the weird dance in the back. Like that would be so rad. I think that's actually like a 3D model that someone made back there.
Yeah. So you're the Cigar Aficionado of Twin Peaks. Got it.
I mean, I've got a new appreciation for it, having rewatched most of it recently, but it's still just a lot of times David Lynch being David Lynch. Like I'll give it that, where he's just like, I'm going to make something weird. You're going to like it. I told you about transcendental meditation. You know, it's fine, man. Do what you're going to do. More Cooper being strange. I didn't understand why Bender was so invested in just lying about where Fry was. Did he just not want to have to go get him, or he just didn't want to get caught for losing him?
Yeah, he did. They were buddies, and he didn't care. Like, he literally just was like, oh yeah, I'll let you know if we have to cheese it, because Fry asked him if we have to cheese it, and he like pushed past everyone to get back on the ship. And then he realized that he had forgotten Fry and he didn't want to get in trouble. So he went through all of this too. He made Fry look so good, though.
He did better than anyone would have thought possible.
Yeah.
But that line from the professor when he comes in with, dude, that herb you scored cleared up my arthritis and my glaucoma, was like, all right. Which again, why haven't we seen the professor smoking pot like anytime in the last 10 years? Because maybe that's him and Hermes' connection.
I think it's edibles, and or maybe he's vaping it.
I just also love that glaucoma is like the go-to weed joke always.
Well,
forever.
This was still
like, that was like the first weed joke was glaucoma.
That's because it works.
Well, it works, but it's also what got a bunch of old people to start being open to marijuana. They're like, oh, I can see that. Like, they actually saw that it worked, and they go, okay, well, I need marijuana for this very reason. I am the host now.
Yeah,
thanks,
Michelle
guys.
dropped off. She has computer trouble from time to time, so I'm sure she'll rejoin us shortly. That's just what happens.
Well, God, I'm gonna go grab a beer.
Okay.
I'm just keeping recording because I'll edit it out afterwards.
That'll work.
We've gone past the 45 minutes though, so
yeah,
still good. Oh man, the protest came down Bunce yesterday.
They came down Detroit and we could hear them, like they, and then everybody. Oh, Michelle's messaging.
Okay.
Yeah, they came down and we just hung out on our porch all night last night and could hear like the shouting going on.
It was very good. Like the Cleveland police completely were just in it escorting. Everything was good, except after everyone left, there was a car that stopped and came out and was like, just like talking to the people on our street.
Yeah.
And it backed up so much, and then there was a actual cop car with their sirens on trying to get through, and they could not get through because it was just so backed up, and like people were yelling, and then it started flowing. But it was weird. It was very weird.
Yeah, it's a strange time, man. She said her internet went out. So we can just keep rolling. She might join back on her phone or try to get on.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess the message that Bender finds when Leela comes to look for Fry at Robot Arms Apartments, and he finds the outgoing cassette recorder, which I'm almost obsessed with the fact they still had one of those that functioned 1,000 years in the future. But like
from when Fry was a billionaire and he bought all that old.
Well, then it would still work though.
Yeah, well, I always think things like that have, there's also a market for retro things. So
yes, yeah, but they
like an official tape deck thing. It just has all the functionality. It appears to have that functionality, but it's really just a digital recorder,
like the NES Classic that I bought a couple months ago. It's just I can play Dr. Mario all the time now. But the message on the outgoing message is just like, what did it say? We're not here right now. We're out getting drunk at the Olive Garden. Like, oh my God. Everything about that sounded wonderful. And I know there was more to it, but it was so good. And then the way that he Olive you when he cut it up later on.
Yeah.
And it was, all of that hit me especially because I've been having to make a bunch of instructional videos for work. Like I'm doing training videos for our customers. And so I'm working in Adobe Premiere and I'm recording these voiceovers and trying to make them right. But I'm also just like, fuck it. Whatever. Like today I realized I said a word wrong and then spent 45 minutes trying to cut half a syllable out of this dumb word.
Rather than just
that I was using. Well, because I recorded the voiceover 3 days ago.
Oh, okay.
So then there would obviously be a difference in it because it's not like I'm recording in a studio where it's completely silent. It's
yeah.
There's trains in the background and shit. But
gotcha.
It got it to work, man. It's fun when that happens.
What word was it?
The word was refiling, and I said for some reason refriling. And I had to get that R out of it. And it was, oh, fuck.
I hear it. I want to hear
the original.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear the original and I want to hear the edit to see how good of a job.
How close they are. There was one that I did. I don't even remember what it is now, but a couple weeks ago I was doing one and I just I completely said this word like weird and knew that I did, and just finished the section. I'm like, I don't even give a fuck. And then as I was adding it together, it was like, oh fuck, that sounds really dumb. So I took the same word was in another sentence a couple minutes before, so I just took that and like got them to line up and overdid it. But
How bad do I sound?
You sound like you on a phone and a Zoom call. It's all good.
Pete, let
All
me
right, I don't know why it's not working. I'm connected to the internet. The internet's up, but my computer is not using the internet. I don't know why.
Pete, let me give you a little advice. Voiceover is like the opposite of measure twice, cut once.
I get it. Yeah, just
record a bunch of times, then you get to cut once.
Right. And like
and all the takes you need.
See, if I'm recording into like Logic, or if I'm doing that with music or like singing, it's fine because the multi-tracking thing is all built in. Like Premiere's just not really, for me, geared that same way to do like take after take after take. Like if I don't like the way it comes out, I'm deleting it and then putting the piece back in. Whatever, you can't watch the videos anyway, man. It's proprietary. Yeah. There was this weird, two other things happened in this section with Leela trying to get Fry, them having a date at the adults only pancake house, which sounds fucking amazing. Whether that is like a pancake house / porno theater, a nudie bar, or just a pancake house where there's no damn kids.
Yeah. Just a less sticky. It's either a more sticky pancake house or a less sticky pancake house.
Exactly. And either way, I'm okay with it. Like, and I don't know if you've ever been to the original pancake house. I love it, but like,
oh, so good.
It is. It's just you get an omelet the size of your head.
I had a bad experience because I got the corned beef hash there. And they brought me something that looked like dog food. And I stepped back and I was like, I don't. They're like, oh, a lot of people like this. I'm like, yeah, but I don't like it. Even if a lot of people like it, I don't like it because, and it was probably higher quality corned beef than most corned beef hashes. But that's not what I want when I want corned beef hash. I want
a Hormel can.
Yes, exactly. And I want it to be cooked to some sort of, meat potato patty situation that's all crispy on the outside and gooey in the middle that I can put runny eggs over. And theirs had, actual meat and potatoes. And I was like, this is not. I want dog food. Bring me the actual dog food.
But I get it when the like when I will eat a fancy cheeseburger, but sometimes I just want like 2 big Bufords. Like I want the bottom of the barrel. Yeah. They're only it's $6 for 2, Tom.
I know. I don't think I could consume 2 though. Although I mean you
for 48 hours of diarrhea. I mean that's good.
I can give myself diarrhea for free. With that I at least get to enjoy the part of it.
Brag.
That's one of those things that gets me is like I can tell you there's been inflation in the economy because 2 big Bufords used to be $4 forever. And then it was 5 and they're like, all right, now it's 6. And then sometimes it's just like, no, they're $5 a piece. And you're like, fuck that. But I'm down.
It's a lot of Buford though.
It is. And I won't even eat them all at once now. I'll get 2 of them. And I'll put 1 in the fridge because it tastes good now. But that other one's going to taste real good in a few hours after a few more drinks too.
Man, I'm really hungry, so we need to get through this.
Well, okay, yeah. So the other thing that happened in this weird little interlude was when Bender was playing with the answering machine, trying to get it to work, and it was fucking up. And then Scruffy out of nowhere is like, "Them elves are back again," and then grabs the big wooden mallet and just kind of walks off to go smash elves. Like, why haven't we seen that episode? Are they figments of his imagination, or were there really elves invading? Because that would have been awesome to see like an episode of Scruffy versus the elves.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. I don't know if that. I don't think it ever comes up. I don't think it ever. Comes up.
That's terrible. And then I guess like all this stuff going on in Omicron is just basically like ET. They fly on the bicycle, powered by love.
This planet has a moon
Can you
problem.
love me? Yeah, can you love me a little bit less so we can land?
We need to land. And they go find the electronic junk, which Fry thinks he'll be able to use to send a message. And he does by spelling out SOS with all of the junk.
Those are the letters Fry knows.
That reminds me of when the Bender is on the island and he tries to spell out for help, but he like spells out that whole thing because he's rock short. It's like, please, if you not too much trouble, but blah 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 or whatever. But yeah,
I like when they're kind of having their last moments together, and I think they're like saying like, I want to grow up together, and like Fry's like, yeah, me too, even though like Fry, pushing 30 at this point, and
Right.
or he's probably over 30 technically, but in the show he's a full grown man.
Yeah.
He gets along really well with a child.
I mean, it's all relative because that's why the vet wants to put him down. He's like, I could bring him back to health, but he's only going to live a measly 80 more years or something.
Yeah.
It's just it just got ridiculous. The part where Bender's conscience gets him from seeing the SOS message and coming out to get him. I feel like the episode wrapped itself up pretty quickly, but there was still some good stuff in there. What was it? There was something with Zoidberg, and I don't think I wrote it down, but when Lur finds Fry in the closet and then it's like, okay, well, you're going to have to kill him. And that becomes a whole thing. Fry's statement that like living in his closet or hiding in his closet and eating his turds was the best week of his life.
Yeah.
and then when they go or when they're in the vet and they look at his teeth, like they're all rainbow colored from the different turd capsules that went in. Like, it's just like, oh God, that's so foul.
Well, that's how people that are like introverts and enjoying the quarantine, they're gonna look back on this time fondly where they didn't have to pretend to be tired or cancel plans on anybody. You had to stay home. So there's a lot of people that are gonna be like, oh, this is the worst time ever. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, this is actually a really good time for me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm it's getting to me now. Like there's definitely a cumulative sort of like, fuck, I'd like to just be able to go somewhere. But there's nowhere that's open, or even the places that are open that I'd like to go. It's like, I'm not comfortable doing this shit yet. Like, it's dumb. I don't want the servers to have to wear masks, and I don't want to look at other people and judge because I can do that from home through the internet.
Thank you, social media.
When him and Lur go to escape on the bike, and there's another turd line. Like the turd lines in this just got me. But he's like, you don't look well. You're sick. And he's like, not from the turds. Can I have another turd? Like, Fry's 100% all in, and that's the point where his teeth were all covered in them and just like, candy coated turd teeth.
Well, this is good God, what have you been eating? And Jur says, some stuff I made.
Right. That was just beautiful. That thing, he's not just some skin ball full of love and a delicious red juice that I've been drinking every day. Like, oh, that might explain why he's dying. He's getting drained like a vampire. But I was sort of confused when Fry theoretically actually dies on the vet table. Like was he just kind of passed out or something, or was it, did he actually get resurrected by Bender's butt love?
I don't think he was dead. I don't think they knew anything about humans.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then he ends up surviving, but it's like everybody's got glowing butts, which I mean, that would be pretty cool. I don't see enough glowing butts out in the wild anymore. Maybe in the 90s at raves and stuff, you'd have like glowing butts, but not anymore. They never did. And thinking back, it's been a really long time since I saw E.T. Was there ever a point where like Elliot glowed?
Well, they did the finger thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't know if Elliot glowed.
No, Elliot never glowed. Just E.T.
Not until he got kidnapped by the aliens and fire in the sky.
And I'm gonna be honest, E.T. was never one of my movies. Like I know a lot of people love
terrified me. Terrified.
I just never. E.T. didn't seem like cute to me, so or like even like anything you'd want to help. I don't know. Right,
he kind of just
as a very young kid, I'm like, this thing's ugly. And it doesn't even move that well. How is it able to travel through space?
This is like a foreskin with eyes. Like, what's going on?
How's this frumpy thing moving around in traveling through space? Didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It was too terrifying. E.T. is terrifying.
It was the first time I heard the word penis breath, though. Which even to this day, I'm surprised still made it into a PG movie. But then again, PG-13 used to be like all boobs and fucks too. Like, I don't know where that shifted.
I don't even think PG-13 existed when E.T. came out because the first PG-13 movie, I think, was like Red Dawn or Raiders or Temple of Doom.
Was it Temple of Doom?
Yeah. Like those two were like amongst the first two that came out and were rated PG-13. So you even had some boobs in PG movies like 16 Candles.
Yeah.
There was some because like, yeah, it's about kids, but there's a little bit of boobs, but it'll be fine.
Yeah, because it's like looking at boobs might kill you or spark a weird violent event or something. I keep wanting to go back and revisit Dragnet the movie. It's just
liking that movie.
It's not streaming anywhere, so I'd have to rent it. And I assume a lot of it will hold up just because it's ridiculous, but I also assume that it may just be nostalgia.
Probably.
But I mean, I definitely remember enjoying Tom Hanks' performance in that and Dan Aykroyd's.
That was a pretty good role for Dan Aykroyd because he was that role is pretty close to who he is. If you've ever seen him interact with fans,
yeah,
just rattle off data.
Right.
He's that person.
Talk about his Crystal Skull vodka made in Newfoundland.
He's not super or like, different event. Like he knows a lot about history. I think he's kind of an alien guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely an alien guy. He comes from a long line of alien people. I think grandfather and father both like investigated like extraterrestrial life and stuff like that. Like that's his whole
paranormal
thing.
Activity. So I think that's where Ghostbusters came from too. And
when
he starts talking about that stuff, he goes into straight robot mode and just kind of like lets all that stuff like spew out of his brain. And I haven't seen Dragnet in 20 years, but I feel like that's kind of who his character was. Like he was
just the facts, man.
Yeah.
But you also had Emil Muzz and the pagan, cult group doing the human sacrifice. Like it's all around. It's just silly.
It's a silly and it's very 80s. Like they made a very 80s movie. So
yeah. Well, Tom Hanks' character as Pep Strebeck just had the pushed up, Jerry Seinfeld blazer and stuff. Like I don't know. I'll find it.
That was like 4 of his most like in like back to back to back. That was who Tom Hanks was playing. So good for him for being able to break out of that and get some more serious roles because I feel like that Turner and Hooch, what's the other one? Punchline and
Bachelor Party.
Yeah, I feel like those are all pretty much like almost the same exact character all through all of those, and even Big to a certain extent.
Yeah,
even Splash too, almost.
He was,
which I love Splash. That's a great movie.
And he was a fun-loving all-American guy.
Yeah, and so for him to be able to make that pivot from that to like serious actor and like one of our most beloved actors is pretty impressive. Like that's like saying like Ryan Reynolds making that move now.
And I think he could. I wasn't it Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia was the one that like pivoted him out of that into going to any role that he wants versus just goofy fun guy.
Yeah, probably. But I feel like there's a stepping stone one because like Joe versus the Volcano, he's playing a little bit different role, and then did Sleepless in Seattle. I'm trying to think of the timeline of all these different things, but he did some stuff where he wasn't quite as happy all the time.
You've Got Mail.
Yeah, but that's later.
all the Nora Ephron movies, you know.
You Got Mail is just Sleepless in Seattle updated.
Yeah, it's fine. Look, you find a winning formula, and if you're a winner, you just keep doing it because you like to win.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So was anyone else weirded out with the very last scene where Leela is like super excited to see Fry, not realizing he's been gone, and then she's telling him about this encounter they had in the closet where he was like a machine?
Well, yeah, obviously it was Bender.
Well, yeah, obviously it was Bender, but like, you know, I don't know, maybe Leela is messed up or something, but that still adds these weird layers.
Absolutely messed up.
Yeah, because he's number one, if she didn't realize that he was a robot when that was going down, then she was either completely incapacitated or something.
Well, that's kind of the whole thing with Leela is she always thought that the way she looks is the reason that she drives men away, but it has nothing to do with that. It's a lot more to do with her how self-centered and like revenge-driven and ego-driven she is.
Mm-hmm.
Or her singing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, overall, this was fine. I enjoyed it. It was just, you know, it kind of took some turns, but whenever there's enough good Zoidberg lines, that can redeem some stuff. Mm-hmm. And maybe it says more about me than anything else that I enjoyed all the turd eating references.
I was going to say, I liked this episode a lot because of all the turd jokes.
Mm-hmm. I like the turd jokes, and I love the Omicronians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like my favorite line in the whole episode, I think, is Hermes shouting 5050 what?
Yeah, Omicronians.
Stuttering Hermes, beautiful. Well, okay. I think at the beginning of the show, you mentioned that you started a new podcast, Bill. What else are you working on besides the Bill Squire show? Any stand-up dates coming up?
Actually, I do. I have the Funny Stops set up to do social distancing.
Oh, really?
Okay,
that's great.
So I'm there June 18th through the 20th.
Oh, that'll be cool.
At the Funny Stop. So no meet and greets or anything like that. It's kind of, you know, it's come in, wear a mask, please, and you know, enjoy the show. But I don't know what to expect.
I mean, hopefully people laughing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
What if somebody laughs silently? You won't know they're laughing because they have a mask on.
Who cares?
we got your money.
Yeah.
You paid to get in. That's really what matters at the end of the day.
This is a show for the economy. Let's get started. It's not about laughter. Yeah, but I'm really putting a lot of like my heart and soul into the Bill Squire show. So I'd really appreciate people checking that out and giving that a shot. You can search it on YouTube. It's on Apple and Spotify and Stitcher and everything like that. So you can listen to it, but I'm doing a pretty large visual element too. So I think that's probably the best way to absorb it.
Cool. So I mean, you said you've had 2 episodes come out so far. You know, what's your planned frequency for release and when can people expect it?
It's every Monday, and I do a couple different segments. So like I'll have a comedian on that I like to spotlight and just kind of, you know, shoot the shit with them and talk about some stuff. First episode was my buddy Matt Bergman. Second episode was Chad Daniels. the third episode's a dude named Ben Palmer who does. I share his.
Oh God, he's hilarious.
He's so funny. He does these fake like responses. Like he makes fake accounts of different brands, and then
Sorry, my computer decided to restart apparently.
he does these fake accounts of different brands, and then like finds people complaining about that brand or company or whatever, and then replies to them as that company. And then the people like I can't believe someone from Costco would reply this way. I'm never going there again. He's like, okay, that's fine because you weren't going to wear a mask anyway. Like the way is very, very funny. So it's Palmer Trolls on Instagram, and we talk about that. And then I do interviews with Instagram models and stuff like that to help for the Alan Cox Show website. And then just kind of have fun. Like my girlfriend's been a guest, my buddy Marty, who's a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of just whatever I want to do in each segment's pretty short. So you can kind of watch and enjoy like 15-20 minutes with each segment.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I've got plenty of time to check things out these days. So
that's the idea. People do.
That will get into the queue for me because I especially like I'm such a fan of Ben Palmer's stuff, and I didn't know, like, he was from here originally, right? But he's down in Atlanta now, maybe.
He's in LA now. He's been in LA for the past 4 years.
Okay, so that's why he's doing the City of Los Angeles pages and things.
Yeah.
It's just whenever he posts anything on Facebook that from those pages, like it's so maniacally brilliant, you know.
Yeah, he's very funny. He's such a chill dude. It's a great platform for him to get his type of humor out there.
Yeah. Yes. That's great. So go check out Bill's stuff. I mean, he's still doing Alan Cox.
Yep.
Daily, Monday through Friday, or is it?
Friday. Yeah, we've been on the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
See,
have you been going to the studio the whole time?
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Essential services, man.
Doing remote.
We did 2 episodes from my condo because someone was suspected of having the coronavirus like very early on, and so they had to like clean the whole building. But ever since, and that was like back in March, so we've been going into the station. So my life has been pretty normal, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, I never stopped working, which is a little bit of a hassle at this point because I'm just burned out. But
me too.
I'm glad that I didn't have to stop working and I was still able to get paid and all of that stuff. So
my girlfriend wasn't working. She just started back up working last weekend, and that time off, like the first week or two, I'm like, oh man, I'm jealous of that. And then when that depression sets in, that's when I was like, oh, I'm really glad I have someplace to go.
Just something to kill time for 8 hours a day, just to, or 4 hours a day, or however long it's taking. Just it's just to eat up some time. It turns out there's a lot of hours in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they go really fast, and sometimes they go really slow.
I know.
And then time gets all messed up, and you don't know what's going on.
And you wind up in Gary, Indiana, an hour behind everybody else to know.
Exactly. Eating Mexican food that you left out overnight, because that's what happened to me too in Gary,
Indiana. that sounds like just the ultimate recipe for intestinal distress, like leftover non-refrigerated Mexican from Gary.
Mm-hmm.
And it, tagging back to our old friends, the Roscoe brothers, you know what Gary means in Japanese? Diarrhea. So on that note, thanks so much for coming back on, Bill. We're glad to get you in under the wire on our last season.
Thanks for having me.
We're still trying to figure out what we do at the end. We might try and clusterfuck the whole thing and get every single guest that we can on one Zoom session, because that would be easy to manage.
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. But I'll be checking out your new show and spending my time in quarantine doing the same shit I have been. So I guess, what do we got? Slurmcast.com to go find all the episodes. Email us at slurmcastpod@gmail.com. We're on Twitter and Instagram at slurmcastpod.
YouTube.
Facebook, YouTube. Write and review on your pod platform of choice, or like that nice guy a couple weeks ago. If you just want to say something nice to us directly, email us or text us or something. That was fine.
That gentleman, which I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. Email him back. His schedule is not working out with what time we record. So, but if we can work it out, then we might be able to get him on. So. We can record Wednesdays at like 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That is
Gary, Indiana Standard Time. Excellent. Oh, and then the phone number, if it's still turned on, who even knows? 216-438-1077.
We recently got one of those weird bullhorn
nice
messages. So yes.
I think my credit rating's going down. That's probably why. Like, we can fix this. Pitbull. Oh, yeah, really hitting the wall. Hey, thanks for listening, everybody. Well, we've made it through another one.
We did it somehow. Between computers crashing and all of that, we did it somehow.
Running on fumes. We will get to the end. So we will be back soon, and we'll send more stuff to your ears. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye. Cool.
Bye.